So it's good to be back again. A couple different times away of just kind of getting refreshed and set up here for myself after kind of a long hold here. So it's been good. It's been good spending time with the family, and I hope that you are getting that as well. This is the kind of the season to be going and vacationing or staying home and just doing lots of good things. So I hope you're getting to having some refreshing time as well. It's been so long since I preached. I'm actually nervous. I'm like, I hope I didn't forget how to do this. Man, it's just really weird. So for these 3 weeks here, as we kind of wrap up August, we want to kind of go back to some basic stuff, some fundamental stuff of what church is really about. Even as I've been away for quite a bit of time here, a number of weeks through July, there's a question of, should you come back? Right? If you took a month off from church, don't tell me that the question isn't in your head. Because it becomes easy, doesn't it? It becomes easy to just kind of go, well, I've developed a kind of a new routine. It's just easy to just kind of be in your pajamas. It's easy to go, well, you know what, I just kind of need or deserve to sleep in another day. It's not like I'm going to stop believing in God. It's not like I'm giving up on my faith. It's fine. I'll just stay home and it will be okay. Now, I had a compelling interest to come back. It's my job. I also missed you guys too. It's been an interesting experience to just kind of be away, but yet you've been on my heart, and looking forward to being back here. But I've had other times in my life where I took a pause. I remember one really important time, a difficult time, where it just was frankly painful for me to go to church. And so I just didn't. I hadn't given up on the faith. It wasn't just kind of I didn't want to go. It just was I was struggling with some deep stuff, and I just went no. And I probably didn't go to church for 6 months, the longest stretch in all my life that I hadn't gone to church. And fortunately, the graciousness of God, He prompted me in my heart of just going, it's time. Because there's this fundamental truth for us as Christians, that church is not something we just go to, it's something that we belong with. We have to find our place. This is what is right for us. It has to go beyond just kind of going, hey, I hope we did a good enough show for you that you kind of decide against going and doing one of the other 1,000,001 things that you have available to you now, and we've entertained you enough that you want to be here. That's the lowest option for us. There's this deeper truth that we belong somewhere, that we belong together. And this is what we want to look at. And we've talked about this at different times. This isn't going to be brand new stuff, but we are just at a stage of church in our development as G-Free that we're at a formative place. And I want to make sure that we get this piece right. And so that's what the importance of the fundamentals are. So it really goes right back to Scripture. It goes, now you are no longer strangers to God and foreigners to heaven, Paul writes, but you are members of God's very own family. You belong in God's household with every other Christian. This is a powerful truth that is often ignored by modern day American Christians because they kind of have been duped into this idea of going, it's individual believism. Of going, well, I have made a decision for Jesus, and I believe in God. I have a Bible at home. Maybe I read and maybe I pray, and that is sufficient. That is what God was dreaming for. Church is a nice thing on top. It's the whipped cream. It's maybe the cherry on top. I'm not against it in any way, mind you, but it's an additional thing. Really, I have the one and only essential thing is that I personally happen to believe in Jesus, and so I'm good. That's the big lie. When we go back to Scripture and back to the truth and understand what Paul is teaching us and teaching all the brand new churches, he's going, it's not enough for you just to make a decision for Jesus individually. That's a huge step. But now something has changed. You are no longer strangers. You have become part of God's family. You didn't decide that. God decided this. He's the one that makes you belong to his household, right? An orphan can't show up at somebody's house and go, ta-da! You welcome, congratulations, you won, right? Parents have to go and they find an orphan and say, I welcome you into our family. We receive you as you are. We make you part of our family, permanent. Not on a trial basis, not as a foster child, but you have our name and you have a place and you have a bedroom and you belong to us. Deep in our faith is this idea that we belong to one another. This is way more than just kind of a nice cherry on the top. This is necessary. Now, the form of this is not necessary. Let's be clear here. This whole stage thing and all the chairs and rows and you listen to me up front and we got a band, that's a form. And that's fine, it's okay. But that we gather together is a necessary thing because now we belong somewhere. Now we don't belong because you went and took a membership class. I just don't have that much power. I wish I did because, man, I would charge you so high. No, I wouldn't do that, right? This isn't something even decided by the church. It isn't decided by any one person. There's no governmental institution. You don't have to send in a marital license to belong to God's family. It is by God alone, and it's done by this one thing. Not by showing up at church, right? That's not how you belong. Some people go, well, if I just show up, then I belong. No. The entrance is indeed that decision. Back in John wrote, to all who believed in him, speaking of Jesus, believed in Jesus and accepted him, put their trust in him, said what he did on the cross makes me right. He gave them then the right, the power, the authority to become children of God. It's Jesus that is the one that goes, you get to be part of the household. You showing up at church doesn't make you part of the household. You can spend every day of your life in a church building and you won't be part of God's household. It starts with accepting Christ into our life. But it has to go beyond this. It has an implication to it of going, you are now part of this household and we need one another. Why do you come back? Because I belong. Because I need a spiritual family. A fundamental truth. So think about it this way. So we've got people that are outside the church, not just outside G-Free. We're one expression of the church, but people outside the church, right? They may believe, they may not believe, I don't know. But they go, we are not part of anything. We're just kind of on our own. They might be doing the old, the Blackwood Brothers. Some older folks got to know Blackwood Brothers. Nobody? One's going to heaven. Anybody else want to go to heaven? Blackwood, the old gospel, me and Jesus they had. Well, me and Jesus. Anyways, they're out there. You can move into this place of attending that you show up and you go, I like G3. Boy, I like this place and I kind of want to go here, and they got stuff for my kids and I kind of like the music, and the big goofy guy is okay up front every once in a while, right? You can attend, but attending is not belonging. Belonging starts with accepting Christ into our life. That begins it. But then we have to move on to this deeper, real sense of belonging. And that's a lot of the things that we work on as leadership, is to go, how do we move people from outside to inside? Why do we spend our time and our energy and our money on a summer bash, on a bike show? Because we understand it's our mission to welcome people from outside and bring them in. Getting them to attend is one step. But until we really start to help you to belong, you are missing out. And frankly, I could probably set a timer, because there will be eventually something that you don't like here that you're going to go, I don't like that anymore. And so I'll go. Because you've showed up for a show rather than understood that this is a family that you belong to and need. And frankly, the other side of that is that we need you as well. Well, that's what we're going to look at. We're going to kind of unpack this. The Bible uses, the New Testament uses numerous images of going, what is the nature of this belonging? Today we're going to talk about Paul's version of this in 1 Corinthians 12, talking about the church as a body. He writes it in the NLV like this, NLT. Or think of it this way. The human body has many parts, but the many parts make up one whole body. So it is with the body of Christ, the church, right? Some of us are Jews, some are Gentiles, some are slaves, some are free, some are from Clearfield, some are from Osceola Mills, right? We have all these distinctions. We got a few Republicans, we got a few Democrats. There's even a couple libertarians probably in here. I don't know how they got in, but you know. Right? We have all of our distinctions. Most of you are saved, so you're Steelers fans. There's a couple Patriots that have slipped into, but we have all been baptized into one body by one Spirit, and we share that same Spirit. It is that he's using this family language of going, look, we're part of something together. It is not individualized. Yes, there's a personal choice. There's this personal commitment that we make to Christ, but then there's this unifying thing. One Spirit, one baptism. So we got lots of different parts. But there's just one body. We belong to one another. And so he breaks it all out. We're not going to do all of this chapter. He says, all of you together are Christ's body, and each of you is a part of it. I don't know how Paul could be any clearer about going, you need to belong. It's one thing. And he goes into a whole diatribe that we're not going to unpack here of going, the hand can't say to the foot, I don't need you, right? The mouth can't say to the eye, well, you're unimportant. Ears, well, they're kind of important, but, not so much the knees or the hips. We have all these distinctions that we want to have of who's important and who's not. Maybe how you feel about where you fit into this church. But he's going, yep, we got all different types of personalities, all different types of ways that we express ourselves and we engage, and gifts that we bring, but we are one complete body. We need each other. I learned this very well here just a week or so ago. I was walking up my outside stairs, and, the rest of me was doing everything it was supposed to. I have no idea why my left toe decided to get caught on the stair ledge. Now, what I immediately did was I took my left foot off and gave it a good tongue lashing and said, you need to get on board with the rest of the body. The rest of the body's doing what it's doing. No, the left foot didn't do what it was supposed to. Guess what happened? Well, the first announcement was we're experiencing a little bit of tribulation or turbulence here, right? So the legs started kind of going, oh, I got to help make up for this. And this whole big body started to get going. And, then I got way out ahead of myself. But it was okay. It was just turbulence. And then I don't know what happened. We hit another step, or I don't know what happened. But then the pilot got on the comm and said, prepare for crash landing. It was the worst. It would have been better if you just fell down, right? Because then it's just over. But when you have 2-3 seconds, you're going down. You can't do anything about it. It's out of control. I didn't do it. The hands are going, we're going to pay a price. We didn't do anything wrong. The knees are going, whoa, we're going to be first impact. It was the foot's problem. I got this big gash on my knee. It's been hurting me for 2 weeks because of my toe. Because we're all connected. The church is very imperfect. It won't take you long to discover that. And here at G-Free, we're full of a bunch of imperfect people. People are going to trip. People are going to fall. People are going to make mistakes. And if your first instinct is, well, I'm bailing out, then you never really belonged. We're in this together, for good or for bad. We work together because we're a body, because that's the way God has designed this, is that we stick together through the good, through the bad. You want to know how important every part is? Now, please don't make my heart go bad here. You guys know who Jack Lambert is, right? One of the most fearsome linebackers in all the NFL, right? He busted out teeth, just throw himself into a brick wall, just all over the place. You know why he retired? His big toe. He got turf toe. He jammed it up, and he still had speed, he still had grit, he still had a whole lot of meanness. He had people he wanted to run over, but because of his big toe, fearsome Jack Lambert had to retire early in 1981. He was done. We are connected to one another. Now, so we go, look, we're connected, we all bring different abilities and gifts, and we understand that any type of organization has a certain amount of that, of functionality, and we get that, and we go, hey, we want to help you to get where you can be serving in a ministry or on a special day of serving like this. But it really goes beyond this. It goes beyond just saying, hey, you know what, we're connected together, and if we'd work together, we can accomplish something. It has this deeper sense of belonging than that. In 1 Peter, he doesn't use the body image, but he's using this idea of serving one another. Earlier in the book, he gives 3 examples. We're not going to look at the examples. I'm just going to give them to you in brief. From the world, things that you're going to encounter. God is sending us out in the world and goes, you are going to face these situations. He's talking very much to the first century church. They're not exactly situations that we would get. We could draw stuff. But these 3 situations are things that you're going to get from the world and what they're all about. He talks about the citizen having to deal with the government and the power of the Roman Empire over top of them. That they are about, I've got power, I've got authority, you better not defy me. You better toe the line. The second example is of a slave and being controlled by a master. Now, we like to kind of go, hey, we want to draw some conclusions for kind of how we work and maybe how we deal with our boss. There's a little bit of room for that, but let's be downright honest about this. Peter was writing to literal Christian slaves. you could not leave. You were controlled. You were owned. And he went, you are going to deal with people, good masters that treat you fairly, not to justify slavery, but you are also going to deal with people that are just mean and ornery, and they can do whatever they want because they own you, because this is a broken world. The third example is of a wife of an unbelieving husband that is only seen as arm candy. That's it. She's not, he even gives the example of going, if you aren't even allowed to speak a word. It is about, in that culture's time, the husband ruled over the wife, and she was put into her place. And so he picks these three examples to go, look, this is how you are going to be a Christian in situations where you have no power, no authority, no control. You are not helpless. This is how you can go on. Now, that's not the point of this message here today. We will unpack that some other day. But he gives these three things of going, this is what drives the world. Do I have power? Can I make other people do what I want? Can I be over top of other people, higher than them, and make them lower? What's interesting in 1 Peter is that he then goes on to contrast this picture of the world in little snippets to start with. And then he gets all the way to chapter 4 and he kind of cracks the whole nut open and he goes, here's a picture of the Christian community. And throughout this letter, there's this growing contrast of going, this is what drives the world. This is what they're about. They're about themselves, about getting what they want, about status, about power. But in the Christian community, the body, we are driven by something entirely different. In chapter 4, he kind of goes, okay, here's the end of the whole matter. He says, above all, love each other deeply. This isn't so radical anymore because the Beatles came along and taught us that all we need is love, because they generated that. In the Roman culture, this was kind of crazy of going, man, you know what? The most fundamental thing for us is that we love each other deeply. That we could be a community that is marked by that. Now we might go, oh, that's all nice and sweet, and let's hold hands and sing Kumbaya and give each other hugs. He says we have to love each other deeply because love covers over a multitude of sins. He's even admitting, guess what? The church is imperfect. Get ready. It's going to happen. And then he expresses this love by going, offer hospitality to one another without grumbling. I love this line, right? Because, that's not exactly what we would kind of go to. We want to kind of leave it in this squishy, soft world of going, well, let's just kind of feel kind of good about another. He's going, no, this has got to be practical. Offer hospitality. And you know what? You're going to sometimes go, why do I have to go up another Saturday and have the bikers show up? No, offer hospitality because that's what we do. He puts it immediately into action, and then he explodes this concept. He builds on this. He says, now, this is what it really means to love each other deeply. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. I love this verse always. This is the verse that blows up that lie that's out there. I'm just fine as a Christian by myself. This is saying God has grace to give, but he is only going to give it through others. That means that this church doesn't need me as a speaker. You need what gift I bring, and I need what gift you bring. No matter what it is. And we come together. The early church didn't have stage and seats. They sat in circles in homes. And everybody brought something. He says to love each other deeply is now to serve one another. The exact opposite of what the world would ever imagine. They are about getting ahead and getting on top and getting what they want. You are going to express this by serving one another. Then he gives two categories. He goes, so if anyone speaks, they should do so as one who speaks the very words of God. Obviously, it's talking about preachers. No, actually not. He only gives two categories, right? He's got speaks, and then if anyone serves, they should do so with the strength God provides. Peter's been doing something kind of interesting. We're not going to get too deep. He uses this double category of watch what you say and watch what you do. And he brings it right into this teaching of going, look, when we talk about serving, there's two big categories. People who are saying stuff and people who are doing stuff. And it's not just a big preacher up front. It's when you are together and someone goes, I need some counsel, or someone's hurting, or you need to bring correction. You speak as the very words of God. This isn't just for me, this is for you. For those of you who go, well, I don't really want to have a lot to say. I just like to do. I like to serve. Well, do so with the strength that God provides. God's in this, in everything that we do, because this is his dream. He goes, I want you to be dependent on one another. That's what it is to belong. That is what it is to be part of my household. He is totally uninterested in a show. We might use a little bit of this technique, but the heart of the matter is that we belong to one another. You see that? So why church? Why come back? Because we need each other. You have something that someone else needs here. And when you decide to stay home or to stay away, or if you believe the big lie and go, well, I'm just fine on my own, you have robbed someone else of what God was going to do through you that I can't do. I can't do it all. I do my part. You need to do your part. I might be a hand. You might be a foot. Just watch out for that step, because the knee is going to hurt, right? And if the knee hurts, the whole body hurts. So the first expression of this belonging is we belong when we serve. Just to kind of wrap this up here. But in three ways, real quick. We belong when we serve because God works through us, right? We distribute those gifts, that grace to one another. God helps us to help one another. We belong when we serve because we accomplish more. We can do big things like a summer bash, a bike show, good, healthy ministries. Do not misunderstand your place here. Find a ministry to belong to. We're going to be having a sign-up time coming up in September. If you're not part of a ministry, find where you can be on a team. But that fundamental thing is we belong when we serve because we learn to love and love deeply. You know why? Because serving is inconvenient. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to lie to you and go, boy, if you serve, you're always going to have happy feelings. It's always going to be easy. No, it's not. And that's the point. Because I'm no longer about myself. I'm not about power. I'm not about control. I'm not about status, getting what I want. I love by yielding to one another. And when we do that, we belong to one another. That's why you come back. Let's pray. Father, we want to recognize what your heart's desire is today, what your dream is for this body, for this group. And all the people that you have drawn here is not just us, it is you at work, and you are assembling this church, and you have brought people here that you want to distribute grace through them to others. And so, Father, we just want to confess that we recognize that. We hear your voice. We accept your truth. And we go, we want to belong here. We want to go beyond attending and saying, this is the place where we serve and are served, where we learn to love one another deeply, just as you desire. So help us, Father. Help us to take those steps and find our places. Give us the grace when we kind of get cranky about it and grumble, and yet continue to offer hospitality to one another. Because it's not just about me, it's about us. Amen.